Today I'm going to be showing you dance competition or dance recital makeup for ages 12 and under. I just personally find that 12 and under needs a different makeup style than 13 and over. I'm going to make this super simple so it's not overly confusing. Alright, so you're going to want to start with a clean and moisturized base. So make sure that you wash your face, is thoroughly dried, moisturized, and you wait about 15 to 20 minutes before you start applying your makeup. I always recommend starting with the eyes, just because if you have any eyeshadow that falls onto, like, let's say underneath your eyes or your face, you can easily just remove that. Depending on your studio, you may have gold or silver comp makeup or recital makeup. Just check with your studio before doing this, obviously, but my studio is gold, so we're gonna take this palette. This is the type of brush that I'm using. It's a little bit more on the fluffy side. I'm gonna take my darker shade right here, so this is the brown I'm using. Obviously, this is gonna be opposite depending. So if you're doing silver makeup, then just use a dark gray. I'm taking my brush and I'm gonna keep my eyes open, just going right in the crease. Same for the other side, just keep the eye open. I'm gonna grab a little bit more on my brush and just drag it on half of my eyelid. So now I'm doing dragging motion just to kind of cover some of the eyelid area. I'm gonna do the same to the other side, just covering half of my eyelid. So this is how it's gonna look so far. It's gonna basically look like little semicircles. Alright, once you do that, I would recommend just using your fingers. Now this is the part where you're either gonna use silver or gold eyeshadow. So since I'm doing brown, we're going to use gold. Brown eyes, I'm going to use this gold here. Some on my finger. And I'm just going to tap on the other half of my eyelid. And we're just going to layer that on until we get a nice shiny base. Same for this side. We're going to just take some more and just lightly tap. This step's going to be an optional step, but you can use a small brush like this. Take a lighter gold shade, this one right here. And I'm just going to go in the inner corners. So again, just kind of placing it right there. This is like optional. It's just to brighten the inner corners a bit more. Alright, for mascara, I'm using this e.l.f. mascara. You can use any mascara that you want. And I'm going to put some coats of mascara on. So I'm just going to start with the top lashes. I'll also do like the bottom eyelashes a little bit. We don't have to go crazy with this. Alright, now I'm going to go in with a second coat of mascara. Alright, now we're going to add lashes. This is kind of optional depending. A lot of studios do want you to wear lashes just because obviously from like far away it's really hard to even kind of see your eyelashes. If you're like a really young dancer, like we're talking like 7, 8 years old, your studio will probably let you skip lashes. Any older than that, usually they do want you to wear lashes, so this is what I recommend. These are actually half lashes. Especially with like smaller face structures, these eyelashes are not going to be like poking up in the eyebrow areas or anything because they start shorter and they work their way up till this longer length. You can always like trim them. You can also use a regular pair of lashes and just trim them. So you trim like this half and use like the shorter end. I'm just going to cut a little bit off. Just cutting like that much off. You want the eyelash to kind of sit like this where it's not falling off the eyelid and it's not poking that inner corner. So I'm using this kiss glue right now. This is the black one, but I really don't recommend the black one just because I find if you make a mistake with application, this glue is quite messy. It doesn't dry clear. So if you can, get the clear version of this because if you make any mistakes, it's like not going to be visible. I'm going to show you up close. So this is how much I'm applying. I'm just doing a nice thin even layer along the lash band, just like this. I don't know if you can see that quite well, but also if you can, take the lash and just give it a little wiggle like this. It helps it dry to your natural eye shape, just because these will naturally want to like dry straight. So when you're applying the eyelashes, you can use either tweezers or your fingers. I find using my fingers easier than tweezers, but if you are applying on someone else, it may be easier with tweezers. We're just taking the lash. Again, this is black glue, so I'm not trying to like make a huge mess, but I'm just gonna start at the middle of my lid. I'm gonna get as close as I can to my lash line, and then after that goes on, I'm gonna do my outer corner. I'm just placing it really gently, And then I'm just gonna give that a couple seconds to adhere to this outer part, and then I'm gonna press this inner corner in. We're gonna just very gently press that inner corner in. Another tip when you're applying lashes, make sure the glue is not too wet. You actually want it kind of just like almost dry, kind of like tacky. So when you apply it, it'll just naturally want to stick to your eye. Alright, for face makeup, we're going to do really minimal. I'm just using this NYX foundation. And I'm just only going to place this underneath the eyes. Especially if you're younger, you probably don't even need foundation. Just using my fingers again. After blending out your foundation or concealer, you're going to take a little bit of pressed powder. Just going to lightly tap underneath the eyes and let that sit for about a minute or two. I'm using this Fit Me powder by Maybelline. I'm using this fluffy brush, just gonna dust off any excess makeup. Alright, now we're gonna put a little bit of blush. I'm just gonna take another fluffy brush, and I'm gonna put it a little bit higher on the cheekbones. So with stage makeup, you want your face to not look so compressed. So we don't wanna put it right here, we wanna kind of put it a little bit higher up on the face. I'm gonna go with this angled brush, and I'm gonna put a little bit of bronzer on. If you're younger, you can just skip this step, but I'm just gonna put a tiny bit of bronzer on the sides of my cheekbones. I'm using this NYX matte bronzer, and then for blush, I use this Quo Beauty one. This is like a Shoppers brand. I'm using this eyeshadow actually as a highlighter. I'm just gonna put a tiny little bit of highlight on the nose. You can also put this on your cheekbones as well. I just don't do that because I find it makes me look greasy. Alright, last step is going to be our lips. So when you're doing lips, I recommend using a liquid lipstick that's going to stay on longer through the sweat and eating or drinking water, whatever it may be. I'm using this Liquid IV by NYX. This one is quite dark. If you're younger, I would get a little bit of a brighter shade of red, but this is the only one I have, so we're just going to use this one. Alright, so this is our finished makeup for 12 and under. So basically a quick overview of everything we did. We just used 3 different colors on the eyes, mascara, fake eyelashes, bronzer, and highlight can be optional. I put blush higher on the cheekbones, and then for the lips, I would recommend using a brighter red. Right now I'm kind of using this like really dark red, but if you're younger, I would not use a dark red. So that is our finished makeup look. I hope this helped you in some sort of way, and comment down below if you would like to see any other videos or if you have any other questions.